Hello, my name is Fadojoe Joseph, and welcome to Fadojoe Podcast. We're going to be doing this every day, daily podcast. If I'm not able to do it every day, at least 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to see my podcast and talking about politics, culture, governance, and most importantly, politics in Africa, Nigeria in particular. And also we'll be talking about the politics around the world, but most especially as it affects Nigeria, both home and in diaspora. So join me and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is where you're going to be seeing most of my videos and how we're going to be talking. I'm going to be a voice to the voiceless. I'm going to be a voice to Nigerian people. I'm going to be a voice where it is needed. I'm going to be a voice that everyone can access and talk about issues that affect ordinary people, ordinary citizens, ordinary people in Nigeria, those who have no voice, those who their voice cannot be heard. All of them, I will be a voice to them. So thank you. And this will be the first episode today. And of course, on the first episode today, I would like to first and foremost congratulate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for becoming, the president of Nigeria, and also to look at what he has done so far. So in looking at what he has done so far, I'm going to pick it one by one. And my podcast is going to be addressing one thing at a time so that people can make contributions. My YouTube channel will be available for you, to make contributions, to make comments, and also to put your ideas in so that we can all help the government to succeed. I'm not going to be doing a talk show and podcast to condemn government all the time, but praise them where they do well and also checkmate them where they didn't do well. And also look at the policies they're putting forth, how it affects ordinary people on the streets of Lagos, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Benue, Sokoto, Zamfara, and of course, Ibadan. So all of this is what I'm going to be doing every now and then on my podcast. So welcome to Fadojoe's Podcast. And today, we're going to be talking about, of course, subsidy that was removed the first day of the presidency. And the question is, removing the subsidy on the first day of the presidency, was it the right policy or was it a bad policy? First and foremost, we all agree one thing, that the subsidy needs to be removed. Because those who are benefiting from the subsidy are not helping Nigerians. All they have been doing is getting a double paycheck, collecting subsidy money, and yet shipping our resources abroad. Neighboring countries are enjoying our fuel more than we have the fuel. Even with the subsidy, government is still not able to control how many of our crude oil is brought back to Nigeria. There are many times that crude oil are being shipped, to China and other places. And there is nothing the government is doing about it. There is so many saboteurs within the government circle itself. We are aware of pipeline being vandalized, but even pipeline being diverted, along Niger Delta to private homes, and people are from their homes selling our oil that is supposed to be meant for Nigerian people. As we are going to be talking about blaming the government, we're also going to mention the human beings and citizens, the role they are playing too, because it takes both the government and the citizens to make a country work. If the citizen is sabotaging the government, then there is no way the government can succeed. And in time past, Nigerian government have not succeeded because there's so many saboteurs of the people of Nigeria, either from the south or from the north, who are sabotaging government every now and then. And I think the problem also is because we've never had a government, that sits down and punish offenders. And a country where you don't punish offenders, definitely people will see the need to commit more and more havoc. So, on removing the subsidy, before President Bola Tinubu came into office, the subsidy itself has been removed by outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari. And by the end of June, subsidy is supposed to phase out. And by July 1st, we're supposed to wake up of no subsidy. But now the question is, when President Bola Tinubu announced it on the first day of his inauguration, was it the right thing to do? The question is no. It wasn't the right thing to do. We knew subsidy was supposed to be removed. Everybody knew subsidy was supposed to be removed. Everybody supported removing subsidy, but not announcing such on your first day in the office. Because what the government is supposed to do is to first and foremost get, into office, You still have 30 days. Within the 30 days, look at how the subsidy will affect your people. Because we all know that there's no way that you remove subsidy that the price of fuel will not go up. So if the price of fuel will go up, then what will be the impact on the people? Because as a government, the impact of policies on your people is what is most important. It's not about the policy. You must weigh the impact of your policies on the people. You don't put a policy down, and after the policy is out, you are now looking for how to minimize the impact. No, the impact must be minimized, must be deliberated even before your policy is out. So if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has gotten to office first, sit at that table and look at all issues on the table. Removing the subsidy, what can cost Nigerian people? Fuel will go up. How do we now go about making sure that if fuel goes up, not just those workers who are working, how do we increase their salaries and how do their salaries so that I can help them? Market women who's not a salary earner, how do we help them to make sure that we do things that they'll be able to reduce the price of their of what they are selling so that they won't increase the price of things in the market? So all of this is what government is meant for, so that the president will come into the office, will look into this, will sit down, will weigh the impact and see how to minimize it before the end of June 30. That will have been the best thing for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to do, that announcing on day one that is removing subsidy. Because by doing that, all he has done is to throw Nigeria into chaos, throw Nigeria into more poverty, throw Nigeria into more inflation. And on the street of Nigeria today, things are so hard. People are finding it difficult to survive. People are finding it difficult to go out about their daily businesses. Let's forget about those in government. I know there are some governors who give people, the people of their state, 2 days off and 3 days to come to work. But what about those who are in the private sector? The private sector runs our economy, not the public sector. So any policy we're going to roll out, we must first and foremost look at the impact of that policy on the private sector, private individual, the tomato seller, the pepper sellers, the rice sellers, the yam sellers, the bread sellers, the transporters. These are the daily people who are going to impact, on any policy that will put forward first. And it will be good for government to always consider all of these things, put things on the table and consider it before rolling out the policy. Now the policy is out. Fuel has increased 100% from 200 to 250 to 500 and even 600 in some places. What is government doing to alleviate the poverty, the suffering of Nigerian people? Up to now, government hasn't done nothing. The only thing government has said is that they are taking baby steps. But the baby steps is killing many Nigerians. Many people are dying right now. Many people are committing suicide in Nigeria. A lot of the suicide rate in our country has increased. I hear all these stories every day just because of government that is insensitive to the people of Nigeria, the impact of their policies on the people. A few days ago, I saw the convoy that welcomed the president to Lagos. Over 100 cars. I can imagine how much fuel is being consumed by these cars. But well, that's how democracy is. Democracy is so expensive to run in Africa. Nigerian democracy is more expensive than American democracy. And all these things, we have to look into it and see how we can reduce the cost of governance. Because if we don't reduce cost of governance, then we're not going to have a country. We're just going to have people in government enjoying while 200 million Nigerians suffering every day. Suffering and smiling. Some people cannot even eat 3 square meals. Yet they are all out there suffering and thinking that someday there will be hope for our country. President Bola Tinubu has said he's bringing hope, a renewed hope back to Nigeria. But you don't bring back hope for a country by first and foremost, giving them hardship on your first day in office. Removing subsidy is a good thing, but the way it was carried out, it was rolled out, was very, very bad. And up to now, people are still scattering out to see how they can put the pieces together, how they can make their life better. The youths, the old, even the unborn baby are suffering the impact of subsidy removal with nothing. Workers are still fighting for wage increment. 33,000 in a country where fuel is 500 naira per liter. How will a man survive? How will a man feed his family? How will anybody survive, such situation? In conclusion, it's very important for our government to consider the impact of their policies on the people before they roll it out. They must sit down. They must send people out to the public to say, okay, if this happens, what will happen? And weigh it together before you roll out any policy. So I want to beg on the government, anyone in government, and of course, most importantly, the president of Nigeria right now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, before you roll out policies, please look at the impact it will have on the people and see how the impact can be minimized to barest minimum. And also explain to the people, let them know. We're not even talking to Nigerian people about it. The government just announced it and we have to deal with it. No, let us move past the government that doesn't communicate with people. Let us communicate to Nigerian people. Let us get things right in our nation, at least for once. That is when the youth, the old, and everyone can believe in our nation. So many Nigerians are not patriotic today, not because they don't want to be, because they have not seen sincerity and fairness on the part of our leaders and put those in government. So by the time people started seeing fairness and sympathy from those in government, I can assure you that many Nigerians too will do their best to support and play their part. It takes both those in government and those, of course, citizens to make a country work. So I'm going to appeal to the government and appeal to the people that as we are going through this action, the government should do its best to see how they can work on increasing salaries for workers and also bringing out more transportations. Government reduce transportations, for members of the public, those who are in the private sector, so that they can benefit from all of this impact of fuel subsidy. And also government should do its best, because government said in 2 weeks we have saved 400 billion naira. Nigerian government should do its best to spend money to make our refineries work. We have refineries that are not working. Now we have Dangote now having one refinery working. If we can have government, repair 2 of our refineries and we have 2 working, then I can assure Nigerians in the future that things will get better. So now that we are saving money from subsidy, let us put this money into proper use, not stealing. Let us put this money into proper use and not stealing. In the past, the government of Muhammadu Buhari also saved money from subsidy. 1.4 trillion sometimes ago. What was the money used for? We never saw it. So many were recovered from Abacha loot, this loot, that loot. What were the money used for? Nigeria had no idea till today. So those in government must do the right thing by the people of the country. And that is how the people can believe in their government. Nigerians do not believe in their government today because those in government have not done enough to make people believe in them. So please, as I wrap up, I want to beg on the government to do your best to see how you can start looking at minimizing the impact of subsidy on Nigerian people. May God bless Nigeria. May God bless you. May God bless me. My name once again is Fadojoe Joseph, aka Fadojoe. I am a former presidential aspirant for Labour Party in Nigeria. Thank you for joining my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel at Fadojoe on YouTube. This is where all my podcasts will be hearing, and I'm going to be available to talk to Nigerian people. I'm going to be available to speak for Nigerian people and also for Africa as a whole. I will remain, myself, and I hope that those in government also will do the best to make their country a better place. Thank you, and bye for now.